Hello, week 6, section 1, and the first class after Eid. Hope all of you had a good Eid, and your family, whether in Bangladesh or outside Bangladesh, everybody is safe. So today, basically what we're going to do, we're going to have a small class in the sense these topics we'll be using later on production and cost. So what we are going to do, we're going to, first of all, see how production is defined in economics, cost is defined in economics, and what the relationship between production and cost is. At the end of the class, I'll show you your marks for assignment 1. I finished your marking your assignment 1, but I haven't organized the PDF. But I'll show you in a screen display. So let us do the slide sharing. Okay, can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. So basically, we're going to look at two topics, production and cost, how they're defined in economics. Number one, how we will be looking at the problems, because we need this, because the next topic is markets. We'll look at two particular markets. Why we will look at two particular markets, I'll discuss at the end of the class. Okay, so part 1, we will be looking at how we define short run and long run and what is production. In part 2, we'll look at the production function. It's a little bit mathematical in the sense that we'll just try to visualize the function. Then we'll look at the production functions in a graph. After that, we'll look at how costs are defined in economics and how they look visually. And then we make some concluding thoughts. And the reference to this today's class is McGuigan, chapter 7 and chapter 8. And although chapter 7 and chapter 8 are very large, you don't have to worry. The page numbers that we are going to look at, they will be given in the slides. And hopefully after we finish, we'll be able to understand how production and cost decisions are made in economics and some basic stuff that we will be needing to understand markets. So the learning outcome is over here, 1 and 2. So let's start. Now, what does production mean? How do we define production? It's just nothing but input transforming to output. So when we talk about production, we're talking about a procedure, we're talking about a method whereby farms or whoever is in the production activity take some inputs and then they transform it into outputs. That is production. So let's get back to the slides. So basically what your text says is some raw material is used in the production process. Now we are doing a graphical analysis. Therefore, we don't have more than 2 axes. So the number of inputs that we are going to use is 2. Got it? Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I mean, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes do say something, otherwise it will be like I'll feel like I'm talking to the wall. Okay, so if you don't participate once in a while.
Okay, sir.
So what happens is we most of the time we are interested in graphical analysis. Therefore, in a graph we have only 2 axes. So that's why the model on production functions or cost functions will look at maximum 2 inputs. This is a very simplistic way of looking at it, but we are keeping things simple. There are definitely more than 2 inputs used in any production process, but we are going to label them as labor inputs and non-labor inputs. We can generalize a little bit more by saying that the inputs are human inputs and non-human inputs, physical and labor. So the labor inputs we are defining as labor. So how many units of workers there are in a farm. The next thing is anything that is not labor we will be defining as capital. So some of you who have done basic economics, or maybe you've done your, if you come from the business school, you've done a elementary economics course, you might come up with the argument that apart from labor and capital, land is also a input in production. Since we are using only two inputs, labor and non-labor, land will also qualify as capital. Okay, so the two inputs that we talk about, where is it? So land will also qualify as capital. Okay, now the first thing that we want to know is we want to define short run and long run. By the name, there is no reason to presume that short run means something that is the duration is a short, and long run means duration means a long duration, say 1 year, 2 years, 7 years, 8 years. Short run and long run analysis came into the picture because when this type of concept was introduced in economics, the people who modeled it, they assumed that capital was fixed. Since we have done only two inputs, fixed capital means the capacity of the firm is fixed. Now, suppose I have a bottle making factory that produces bottles for a pharmaceutical industry. What does fixed capital mean? Fixed capital means that there is a maximum capacity to which my bottles, I can produce bottles every day. Maybe that's 20,000 bottles a day. After that, I cannot produce because my capital is fixed. You understand what that means? What fixed capital means?
So we can produce a certain amount of something.
Yeah, because the amount of capital is fixed. Now you think about your BRAC University, the building you have in Mohakhali. How many floors is there? There are 19 floors. So based on 19 floors, there is a maximum capacity that the university can have a certain number of classrooms. They can't have more than that. Now, if the university extends that building by 2 more floors, then the capacity of the classrooms will increase. Then we move into the long run. As long as the capacity is fixed, which is determined by the amount of capital, we are in the short run. So how can we increase output? We can only increase output by increasing or decreasing the input that we have in hand, which is labor. If the capacity of the firm increases, i.e., for example, I buy some new machinery which can take my capacity to say 25,000 bottles per day, then I move into the long run. Or your university increases 2 floors or builds another adjacent building or hires another adjacent building to the existing one, then the entire capacity of the university will increase. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying this so vividly is that there is no reason to presume that short run means a short duration, long run means a long duration. Now, after how many years normally do mobile phone companies change the launch a new phone?
Nowadays, 6 months.
6 months, and if it's a flagship phone, then they introduce a new version every once a year, right?
Yes, sir.
So if we are talking about Samsung S version, then they have a 2021 flagship, 2020 flagship. Now, whenever they launch a new flagship model, the new flagship model has some extra features, which increases its capacity compared to the one of the previous year. So in the flagship model for mobile phones, the short run is valid for only 1 month, 1 year. You got the logic now? When these high-end mobile phone companies introduce a new flagship model, they usually do it once a year. The new flagship model, for whatever reason, it could have a better camera, it could have a better memory. The features of the new flagship model will be such that their capacity has increased compared to the previous year. So in that market, the short run lasts for only 1 month, 1 year. Okay. What about the fashion industry? How long is the short run for the fashion industry?
Sir, seasonal?
Depends on the trend.
Okay, if you use the word seasonal, that means it's definitely going to be less than 1 year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now then, now you just assume from the top of your head how long a season could be.
Sir, 3 to 4 months.
Correct. You hit it exactly bullseye. So if you look at the fashion industry, every 3 to 4 months, they launch some new design. This design is the capital. Okay, it's not a physical capital. It's a non-physical capital in the sense that, okay, design is just a visual matter. But what happens is a new design is launched, and that particular new design has increases the capacity visually. Okay, suppose we are dealing with rare paintings. How long is the short run? Rare paintings.
So that's hard to estimate. It will be long period because
Okay, how long would it be?
how often
100, 200 years.
It'll be forever, because Mona Lisa, you can have copies of Mona Lisa, but the original Mona Lisa is only one piece. The original SM Sultan or our Kamul Hassan, their paintings are only one piece. So in that industry, the short run lasts forever. Now, do you get the logic?
Yes, sir.
So when we talk about the short run, we are looking at how long is the short run, means how frequently can the capacity of the farm change. In the fashion industry, it's 3 months. In the high-end mobile phones, it's 1 year. Okay, and for rare items, it can last forever because they will never be reproduced. Okay, so now we go back to our slides. Okay, so short run is nothing but the period when capacity of a farm is fixed. The capacity is fixed by the amount of capital that the farm has. So the period when capacity of farm is not fixed is the long run. Okay, fixed inputs are capital in the short run, and variable inputs are labor in the short run. So labor is the only thing that we can change. Okay, this is exactly what we've talked about, that the name is misleading, the short run. It does not mean that the time frame is short in duration, but how long can the capacity of the farm change? And short run, like mobile phone, it varies from 1 year to 2 years. In the cases of softwares, Windows is launching a new Windows 11. Do you know that?
Yes, sir. It's already launched.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's already launched.
Yes, sir. Already using.
Oh dear. Then why don't I get an update? My window is a genuine Windows. I'll have to find
Sir,
out.
there is a process. You need to do
This
that.
is beta version, I believe.
What do I have to do? Do I have to update it manually?
Yes, sir. There is something you need to sign in with that in the update section. Then they will give you the update.
Okay.
There
So
are
you
some.
will get an automatic update in later this year, sir. But you can manually update now, sir.
Okay, now I understand. Okay, thank you. Okay, so if you're looking at softwares usually update themselves every 2 to 3 years. So the short run in software industry is 3 years. Fresh fish. What about fresh fish? Somebody who goes to the river and catches fish every day. His stock might last for only 2 hours. Okay, unique products, they can last forever. Okay, now we are looking at the short-run analysis of production. That means the only variable input that we have is labor. Capital is fixed. So the question that we want to ask is, what is the optimum labor to achieve the optimum output, given the fixed capacity in the short run? How many things are there in this question number 4? Number 1, we want to find the optimum amount of labor. Number 2, this optimum amount of labor will give the optimum amount of output, given that we are in the short run. That means capacity is fixed. There's 3 things. We want to find the optimum amount of labor. What is labor? Labor is an input. This optimum labor will give the optimum output, assuming that capital is fixed. We can forget the fixed capital for the time being, because we have defined that we are already in the short run. So there are 2 things to address. What is the optimum amount of input? Labor. That will give the optimum amount of output. To address this question, we need to introduce the concept of production functions. Let's get back. So first of all, our analysis is now, what is the production function and how do they help to analyze our discussion? Okay. I'm going to read this and then I'm going to explain it. A function, for those of you who have forgotten what a function is, a function is the maximum feasible quantity of output that can be produced with a given amount of various inputs. The maximum quantity of output that can be produced with a given amount of various inputs. Now I'm going to say something in Bangla, so the non-Bangla people, please forgive me, this is a joke. The Bengalis understand very well. Even if I translate it, you won't enjoy it. Mosha marte kaman. Have you heard this phrase?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So those of you who are non-Bangla, if I want to kill a mosquito, I can use a cannonball if needed. Now, is that efficient? I want to kill a mosquito, and to kill a mosquito, I can use a cannonball, or even I can use a nuclear warhead. Is that efficient?
Totally unnecessary.
Totally unnecessary. Good. That means the Bangla phrase "Mosha marte kaman." The reason why I'm saying this is, what is the efficient input that will give you the maximum output? Now, if we want to kill mosquitoes, we can kill mosquitoes in 1,001 ways. The next question is, what is the most efficient one? What is the one that we have access to and is more clever in order to do that? Definitely, it will be a spray. Or somebody might go up a little one step up and then say that, okay, it could be sending sound waves, the electronic mosquito killers that send sound waves so that the mosquitoes can't come near you. So the reason why I said this was, over here we said that what is the optimum amount of labor that will give the highest amount of output? Labor is the input, output is the final product. So the labor that is going in is the dependent variable. The output that is coming out in the production process is the dependent variable. Why? If we write a function as y is equal to function of x, we know from elementary mathematics that the x on the right side is always the independent variable. Do we all know this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
the independent variable over here is input, which is labor. And the labor that we are choosing, since we have... Walaikum salam. You
How are you,
can-
sir?
Sorry,
How are you, sir?
much better after hearing your voice.
Sir, I was sick for many
Huh?
days.
Okay, how are you now?
Sir, I'm now fine.
Okay, good.
Sir, for that reason, I gave assignment in late.
That doesn't matter. You can. I'll be taking 4 assignments, and if you missed the deadline for this one, you can just try to attend the next 3. Okay.
Sir, I tried to give in time, but I was so sick. For that reason, it took time, sir.
Okay. I'll address your problem later. Okay.
Sir, I was so much sick. I had very high fever.
Mm-hmm.
For that,
I'll address your problem after the class. At the end of the class, remind me. I'll say it. Okay.
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Awesome. Acha, where were we?
So we're discussing function. You're saying
Oh,
X is-
function. Yes. So when we said the optimum input, since we have defined economics as a decision-making science, we have to first of all assume that the person who is involved in the production process is a clever person. So the input that he has chosen is the best input. I'll come to this later when we come to more examples. So the input that we are choosing, labor, must be the best input. Therefore, it gives the best output. And thus we get the production function. Okay. Why max? Why are we emphasizing on the word max? Because mosha marte kaman, we can kill mosquitoes using cannonballs, but that won't be it won't be efficient, because we'll end up killing ourselves, or destroying our entire building. So we want to find out what is the maximum output from the minimum amount of inputs. AJ over here, least cost inputs. So our objective is to choose the maximum quantity of output, which is our product, from the least cost inputs. So yes, in order to kill mosquitoes, we can use our hands, we can use even cannonballs, we can also use aerosol spray. So which is the least cost inputs? We know which the least cost input is, and that is the input that we will be choosing. Okay, this is a very simple function. Output is a function of labor and capital. And if we are looking at the short run, then what will happen? Is this a long run production function or a short run production function? Let's see who can identify it.
Sir, which one? The first?
The function of labor capital.
Sir,
The first one,
short run.
the first one, labor and capital, both are variable. So it must be a long run function. The second one, labor is only variable. There is no capital. Therefore, that is a short run. You got the logic now?
Yes.
Look at the first one. You have labor and capital, both are variable. So this must be long run function. And in the second one, we have only labor as the variable. So that is the short run function. This one we don't need. This is known as a Cobb-Douglas production function. Let me. It's something that if you are from an economics background like I am, or some of you are, it's something that are taught in that's taught in the economics classroom, but you never need it, or you never experience it in life. It's an absolute headache. Nobody will ever need this function anyhow. So this one we know that the left hand side is the dependent variable output, and the right hand side is the independent variable, which is the inputs. This one is very simple now. Okay, let's see. This is table number 7.2 in your text. Look at the columns. We are just interested in the 4 columns. Labor input, it's increasing from 0 1, 2, 3 up to 10. The second column is the total product, means total output. Third column is the marginal product. Fourth column is the average product. Okay. Labor inputs is very simple. 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 10 units of labor, 10 number of workers. Or if you want to say that, okay, the first unit means 100 workers, second unit means 200 workers, that's how you want to define it. So one thing is for sure, as we increase the number of labor, is our output increasing?
Yes, sir.
Does everybody see? As the number of labor inputs are increasing from 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 10, our output is also increasing. 0, 6, 16, 29, 44, 55, 60, 62, and
Sir,
then
it's
after
increasing, but
62, after 62 it's decreasing, right?
yeah.
Okay, so one thing is for sure, up to 7 and 8 units of labor is output is increasing. After 8 units, output is gradually decreasing. Why does this happen? Everything has a capacity. For example, if you don't take rest, there is a maximum amount of number of hours you can work throughout the whole day. This is what we are talking about as the short run. If you carry on operating at full capacity, that means 20,000 bottles per day. Okay, if you carry on, what will happen? At one time, your entire farm, your production unit will collapse. So this is also what we are trying to establish over here, that as we increase the number of workers, output increases, but up to a certain extent, because everything has its capacity. We are interested in marginal and average product. We haven't discussed marginal and average in detail, but we have used the analogy. Marginal is your GPA, average is your CGPA. Okay. Now forget marginal product, average product. Just think from a common sense point of view. Do you agree with this hypothesis? If the capacity of the farm is fixed, then initial units of labor are more productive than latter units of labor. Initial
Yes, sir.
units of labor are more productive than latter units of labor.
Yes,
Is
sir.
there anybody? Okay, somebody said yes. Is there anybody who has a little bit of doubt regarding this statement? Initial units of labor are more productive than latter units of labor. Is there anybody who has a little bit of doubt regarding this? Okay, if I'm the production manager, for the first unit of production, I will definitely send my best workers, right?
Right.
Because we have already agreed that the person who's making these choices is a person who is choosing the best. So the first lot must be the best unit of labor. Okay, when we get to the third and the fourth lot, will those lots be as efficient as the first lots?
No.
Okay, in that case, if we agree on that one, then we can establish this hypothesis that if I'm a clever organizer who's organizing production, definitely in the initial slots, I will try to use my best labor. Now I have to produce more. My best laborers are already there. I have to bring the next chunk in. The next chunk, chances are very high, they will not be as efficient as the first chunk. So what will happen? Your GPA will start to fall, right?
Right.
Initially, your GPA will start to rise because you haven't reached a capacity. Once you've reached that capacity, the next lot that you are going to employ, or the third lot after the second lot, they are going to be less and less productive than the previous lots. So what happens? As the number of units of labor are incrementally added to the production process, the production capacity becomes less and less productive. Okay, so what that means is initially productivity will go up. So just look at my finger now. This is if you agree with this, then we don't have to explain the graph. Production will initially be highly productive. That means GPA is increasing. That means your marginal productivity is increasing. It reaches a peak. After that, if we carry on increasing labor, which is on the x-axis, then we become less and less productive. That means our GPA is falling. So can you visualize a production function as an inverted U? Starts initially over here, then starts to become productive, reaches a peak, and then starts to become counterproductive. So it starts to fall down. Can you all visualize an upside down U, inverted U?
Yes, sir. Sir, basically this is for marginal output, right? This graph.
Right, right. But when we are calculating GPA, we also find out that CGPA is also changing, right?
Right.
If our GPA is increasing, this is the first change that happens. Our CGPA will also be increasing. This is the second change that happens. If our GPA starts to fall after we reach a capacity, then the next effect is that the CGPA will start to fall. Now look over here. Initially, your marginal productivity is increasing up to how many units? Up to 4 units. See, the first unit adds 6 units. Second unit adds how much? 10 units. Third unit adds 13. Fourth unit adds 15, etc. And then this is also increasing the average productivity of labor. But after 4 units, marginal productivity starts to fall. That means until 4 units, all the units production was highly efficient. But then because the technology is fixed, capital is fixed, capacity is fixed, whatever, then it starts to become counterproductive. Then it starts to fall. So when marginal is falling, average must also be falling. Is that the case? Let's see. So the marginal has increased up to 4 units. Average also increases. Marginal falls from 4 to 5. Why is average the same? Look, at 4 units, marginal is 15 plus 5 units, marginal is 11. That means it has fallen. But look at the average. Average for 4 is also 11. It is also the same for 5 units. Have you noticed it? Or do I have to check it out? Let me mark it. This is it. Can you see it now? Marginal productivity peaks at 4 units, then starts to fall from 5 units. But average productivity remains the same in between 4 and 5. Right? Have you noticed it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. If you've noticed it, then now we are going to explain what does that mean. Where is it? Which information do you get first?
Sir, sorry for interrupt. I have a question, sir.
Mhm.
Sir, is that issue, is there any way the price of the product is changing based on
We are
the
not looking at
customer?
price. We're just looking at productivity.
Is
That
that, sir,
means-
that products quantity by anything else is changing based on the consumer demand?
No. This productivity is changing because of production activities, nothing to do with demand.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Acha, where was I? Oh, huh. What information do we get first? At the beginning of the semester, if this is your second semester, assuming your second semester, then you start off with a particular CGPA, right?
Yes, sir.
As the semester progresses, and at the end of the semester, the first information you get is what? GPA, your marginal change. Once you know GPA, only then can you calculate your CGPA. Can you calculate CGPA without the knowledge of GPA?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so the first change that happens, like we have said many times in the last few weeks, is the change, the marginal change happens first, which is your GPA. So now we go to the next slide, which is the graph. Okay, this is marginal productivity of labor, MPL. The one on the top is average productivity of labor, APL. Which one peaked first? Which one peaks first?
So marginal product. Oh, no.
MPL.
Average product.
MPL peaks first. Okay. Once we know GPA, only then at the end of the semester can we calculate APL. Now do you get the logic? Marginal peaks first at this point. When will we know that? We'll know that at the end of the next unit that marginal is a peak.
Sir, the graph is not clear. Is it possible to change the color of the two graphs?
Oh
Because
dear.
all of them are blue. It's so confusing.
Okay. I can't change it now.
No, it's okay, sir. No problem.
No. You can do one thing. We can do something else probably. Oh, the borrow kora jaya na visually. Can't we increase the? Oh yes, we can. Can you see it now better?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see it a little bit better. Okay. Okay, lovely. Now can you see that the wait, let me use the pen now. This is the peak of the marginal curve. Okay, this is the GPA. So in that semester you did very well. When will you find out that you did the best? At the end of the semester, right?
Yes, sir.
So if it has peaked at beginning of 4, at the end of 5, at the beginning of 5, you will find out the average has peaked. Now do you get the logic?
Yes, sir.
The reason why I'm saying this is the two peaks have a gap. It's for two reasons. Number one, the marginal change happens first. Once we know the marginal change, then only we can calculate the average change. And from your practical point of view, unless you know the GPA, you can never calculate your CGPA, because GPA is the thing that happens first, and CGPA is the change that happens, at the end. Okay, this is very important. Let's forget in the bottom of the panel, we have the same thing. Marginal peaks first over here, and then average peaks over here. Okay. Now, above one is something that we need to address. We said that if the capacity of the farm is fixed, initially the farm will be very productive. Then the farm starts to become less productive. Look at this curve. Isn't it steep initially?
Yes, sir.
And then what happens is the curve is becoming flatter, right? Does everybody see so? Initially, the curve is steep. Why? Because we have agreed that the initial units of labor are more productive than latter units of labor. After that, people start to become tired or whatever, then they become less and less productive. That's why it's becoming flatter. Now let's look at down here. It's rising and then the gradient is falling. What is negative returns? Negative returns happens
With additional labor, total output is decreasing.
decreasing, correct. Uh-oh. Where was it? Oh, here. here. See, from 7 units, sorry, from 8 units onwards, the more we add labor, the less the total output decreases more and more. Okay, why does this happen? Isn't there a capacity to drinking water?
Yes, sir.
So once you've reached your physical capacity, maybe you will be able to drink a little bit more water. So you become less and less happy. And then if you carry on drinking water after that capacity, you start throwing out. Production capacity is also like that. Initially, they're productive, so the total curve is becoming steep. Marginal and average are rising. Then it becomes less and less productive, so it becomes flat, and marginal starts to fall, and so does the average. And at a particular maximum, after that, if you carry on increasing labor, total output will ultimately be counterproductive. So this is, where is it? Hey, here it is. Okay, this is it. So in this part, we are very productive, then we start to get less productive, and then we become counterproductive. This is a human, this is universal phenomenon. Okay, now we are going to introduce the second topic, and I'm not going to give a break. Okay, those of you from pure business background, how do you define cost? Not from economics. If you have an economics background,
Cost.
don't answer the question.
Yeah, cost. Can you hear me, sir?
How do you define cost?
Cost can be defined as the total amount of money made to produce revenue.
Okay, so
Exactly.
the total, that means the financial calculation. That's what, okay? Is that what you want to say, Lydia?
Yes, sir. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. So Lydia says, and you're from a business background, right, Lydia?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sir.
So,
I'm from the business.
okay, lovely. In that case, so most people who are from business background, if you ask them what is cost, they will say it's some kind of financial calculation, and then they'll get into more depth. Okay, you calculate like this, you don't calculate like that, etc. But the basic thing is that cost is looked at as a financial calculation. In economics, cost is looked at as from a decision point of view. This is the basic difference between looking at cost between economics and non-economics or business school. In economics, we look at cost as a decision-making activity. At the beginning of the semester, we have looked at a cost called opportunity cost, right? Remember?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what we are going to look at in economics. Financial costs are basically accounting costs, costs that can be counted. That's why it's called accounting. Something that can be counted is a financial cost. So economists look at this cost as cost that comes out from your pocket. Anything that comes out from your pocket, you can count it, whether that is in coins or whether that is in notes. Okay. Economics costs is the decision making. If I decide to spend 1 taka, what is the opportunity cost? I think we have discussed this before, no? Do you remember that we discussed this? If I decide to buy a car that costs 30 lakh taka, it's a decision. I haven't bought it yet, but isn't it a decision that I'm thinking about, that I need to buy a car and the car will cost me 30 lakh taka?
It's a decision, sir.
Okay. In that case, when we since we are saying that economics is a science of decision making, then what we are basically we're trying to say is that this 30 lakh taka, if I don't spend it, what is the next best alternative? That's how we define opportunity cost. Now, in a practical point of view, if I don't spend 30 lakh taka to buy a car, I can do 1,001 things with that 30 lakh taka. Okay, I can buy something else. I can invest it somewhere else. Okay, if I invest it somewhere, then I will make one type of profit. You will make another type of profit, or even I can end up making a loss. So how do we calculate opportunity cost of 30 lakh taka? So that it can give us a universal approach. We can discuss, we calculate it like this. If I don't spend 30 lakh taka to buy a car, if I kept this money in a risk-free investment, let me mention this term 2 more times. Risk-free investment, risk-free investment. What is a risk-free investment? I can take this money, I can put it into bank A. Bank A tells me that they'll give me 12% interest. You take the money and you put it into bank B. Bank B gives you 14% interest. Are any of these two risk-free?
No, sir.
Acha, who said no, sir?
Sir, Abul Khair.
Okay, Abul Khair, why do you think it's not risk-free?
Because banks can fail.
Okay, good. So in that case, what is a risk-free investment?
So usually it's the government treasury bonds, because
Yeah, right.
governments, it's very rare that governments fail.
Now, government cannot fail.
No, sir, sometimes there are failed states, but there is like so rare, it doesn't happen.
It usually doesn't happen. Abul Khair has got it correct, because what happens is risk-free means, for example, if I buy a government bond, this bond has been certified by the state. It hasn't been certified by a government. We use the word government bond, but actually it is certified by the state of Bangladesh or the state of any country. So if the state of the central bank says that the bond is 10%, then 20 years later, even if Bangladesh becomes another country, that promise will be honored, because it's a promise made by a state. Now, for example, when Bangladesh became hello, yes. Oh, when Bangladesh became independent, people who had Pakistani currency, a lot of people had Pakistani currency in their house. When Pakistan came into existence, a lot of people had a British Indian currency in their house. So did they throw it away? Did they throw their old currencies away?
No, sir.
What did they do? They went to the central bank, and the central bank had to honor the debt, because it was made by a sovereign country. So if 30 lakh taka I decide not to buy a car, then the opportunity cost is the interest that it will be, earn from a government bond. A government bond is a risk-free bond, because whatever the interest rate is, it will be honored. So this is the basic difference of looking at cost between accountants and economists. Acha. Short-run costs. We said that our time limit is short run and long run. In the short run, our capacity is fixed. In the short run, there are some fixed costs. If you are not familiar with the word fixed cost, you must be familiar with the word overhead cost. Yes? Are you familiar
Yes,
with?
sir.
Okay, overhead
Yes, sir.
cost is a term that comes from accounting science. So since most of you are from a business background, even if you haven't come across the term fixed cost, you must have come across the term overhead cost. What is the overhead cost? A cost that is independent of production. If you produce, you have to bear the cost. If you don't produce, you still have to bear the cost. For example, for more than a year, Brack University, Mohakhali, that campus is not working. It's not in operation. But isn't there a minimum maintenance cost for the building?
Yes, sir.
That cost is known as the fixed cost or the overhead cost. So more than 1 year, your university is not in operation. Okay, but there is a minimum cost which has nothing to do with operation, required to maintain a business. That's known as fixed cost. So if I produce zero amount of output, I have to bear say 100 taka. If I produce 5 units of output, I still have to bear 100 taka. So visually, the fixed cost will be a parallel line. Can you visualize it? 1 unit of output, 100 taka. 2 units of output, 100 taka. 3 units of output, 100 taka. So what happens? That cost function is nothing but a straight line parallel to the x-axis. But is the average fixed cost fixed?
Sir,
No.
average?
No, sir.
No, sir. Average
sir.
fixed cost varies
Varies,
depending
sir.
on
Because it is an average, sir.
Yeah, it's an average, and the more output you produce, the average becomes slower and lower and lower, right?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fixed cost is a constant on the numerator, and output Q is the variable. So as you increase the amount of output, definitely that ratio is going to become smaller and smaller, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are interested in actually why have I put this one on? Okay, we are interested in per unit costs. So total fixed cost, as we said, it has nothing to do with output. It's the output cost that's independent of output. That means when we produce, we bear the same amount of output. Okay. Now, total cost is the sum total of these two functions: total fixed cost, total variable cost. Now, again, if you are not familiar with variable cost and you have a business background, you must be familiar with operating cost, right?
Yes, sir.
Variable cost is usually cost of
Yes, sir.
goods, sir, not
Okay.
operating cost.
Now, operating cost cannot be the same for all units. If you don't operate, operating cost is zero. The more you operate, operating cost will go up. Same concept with variable cost. It's just another name. Fixed cost is known as fixed cost is actually the counter of overhead cost. Variable cost is the counter of operating cost. Acha. Now, which one is isn't total cost always greater than total variable cost? This is the equation. Total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. In that case, can we say this? Total cost is greater than total variable cost? Yes?
Total cost.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If we verbally say total cost is greater than total variable cost, then graphically total cost must always be above the total variable cost. When we say X is greater than Y, we understand that X is larger than Y. Okay. If we want to plot this relationship in a graph, then the X function must always be above the Y function. So if we say that total cost is greater than total variable cost, then the total cost function must be above the total variable cost function. That makes sense, right? Huh? Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, total cost is always above total variable cost. So we can say that total cost is greater than total variable cost. This is the total fixed cost. Okay. And what is the gap between these two? The fixed cost. We need to go through these things. Okay. Let me where is it? Okay. Total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. তাহলে আমরা কি লিখতে পারি? We can write average total cost is equal to average fixed cost plus average variable cost. Do we all agree? We have just divided both sides by Q to get the average. The first one is the total function. Total cost is greater equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Then we divide all the three components by Q. Once we divide the three components by Q, we get average total cost is equal to average fixed cost plus average variable cost, right? Okay. Do we agree on this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. Then now we can say average total cost is greater than average variable cost. Do we agree?
Yes, sir.
Average total cost is the sum total of these two. Okay, average fixed cost will never be zero. So average total cost will always be above average variable cost, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. Now the next thing that we want to know is what is marginal cost? When we calculate MC, do we consider fixed cost? If you're from an economics background, don't answer this question. What do you think the answer will be? When we calculate marginal cost, do we consider fixed cost? Yes or no? Here's an MCQ. When we calculate marginal cost, do we consider fixed cost? I think you can, yeah, the answer should be no, right?
Yeah.
Huh? The way I framed the question, the answer should be no. Right? Huh?
Sir, answer may be yes, because we calculate that average average fixed cost. So
okay.
we can't calculate average fixed cost without marginal fixed cost.
Okay, lovely. Now let's see. Since you are in a little bit of doubt, average fixed cost, average variable cost, okay, look at this. Do we agree on this one? Total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the next one, we have differentiated the two sides. This is the differentiation of total cost. This is the differentiation of total fixed cost and total variable cost. Now, even if you don't know a lot of calculus, we all know from basic, from high school maths, that the differentiation value of a constant is always zero, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody who is in doubt? The differentiated value of a constant is always zero. Is there anybody in doubt? কারো কোনো সন্দেহ আছে এই ব্যাপারে? The differentiated value of a constant is always zero. Is there anybody
Yes,
in
sir.
doubt? Okay. তাহলে, since we are not in doubt, you can go and come. This is marginal cost, the differentiated value of total cost, which is equal to what? The differentiated value of a fixed cost, which will be zero, plus the differentiated value of a variable cost. So marginal cost is actually the slope of the total variable cost. Is it clear,
Sir,
or do I need to break it down?
Just the variable cost. It would be
Yeah,
just variable
that's the
cost.
variable cost. But does it বাকি data বুঝছে কিনা, or do I need to break it down? Okay, now I think I need to break it down. No problem. You can do it. Okay. Total cost is equal to total fixed cost, which is a constant, plus total variable cost. Now we are differentiating. This is the marginal cost. If we differentiate this, what do we get? 0, right? Because it's a constant. Then we have the differentiated value of this. Right? We are differentiating both sides with respect to Q. So the differentiated value of the total cost function is the marginal cost function, which is a sum total of these two components. The first one is a constant. So the differentiated value of a constant is 0. And then we have left this thing. Okay. So marginal cost is also the slope of the total variable cost. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. এটা খামাকা কেন যে মানুষ পড়ায় এগুলি আল্লাহ জানে। But anyhow, এটা কথা বলার উদ্দেশ্যটা হচ্ছে this graph and nothing else. Average fixed cost is decreasing as output is increasing. We have already agreed to this one, right? Right? Okay. Acha.
Yes, sir.
Now, why is the cost curve U-shaped? If production is inverted U, cost must be a U-shaped. Initial units of labor are more productive. That means they are more cost effective. Latter units of labor are less productive. That means they are less cost effective. When something is cost effective, isn't the cost going to fall down?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this falling down must come to, must have a limit. It's not going to fall down more than that. Then after that, what will happen? When it becomes less cost effective, then that function must be starting to rise, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's why the cost functions are U-shaped. Production functions are inverted or upside down U. Now, the reason why we have done so many things is that total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Average total cost is equal to average fixed cost plus average variable cost. Then we said average total cost is greater than average variable cost because this will always be greater than 0. And then we said that the average total cost must be above the average variable cost. Acha, এখন
But sir, its fixed costs do not sometimes affect the marginal cost of production.
Fixed cost will never affect marginal cost of production because fixed cost is fixed always. If we differentiate a constant, it will always be 0. Since it's becoming 0, that means it's not affecting our decision for the other cost functions, right? Now do you get the logic?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The mathematical interpretation of 0, I don't know whether they teach it in the universities, but the logic is that when the differentiated value of a constant is 0, that means the total function of that particular component is not affecting our decision making. Okay. আচ্ছা, এটা বলার উদ্দেশ্যটা হচ্ছে this graph, where is it? Yeah. Look at this average total cost. Look at the average variable cost. Which one is above? Isn't it average total cost that is above?
Yes,
Average
sir.
variable cost. Why? If we say total cost is greater than total variable cost, then average total cost must also be greater than average variable cost. So you see, this U-shaped is always above this U-shaped, the average variable cost. Okay. What about the marginal cost? Isn't marginal cost also going to be U-shaped?
Yes, sir.
Initially, it will fall like any cost curve, and then it starts to rise. That's exactly what we saw. Initially, it starts to fall, then it starts to rise. Now, which change happens first? Marginal change. Do we agree?
Yes, sir.
Once we see that the marginal is increasing, we know that the average is also increasing. Look at the marginal cost curve over here. It's increasing. What's happening to average? Increasing, increasing. Marginal cost was falling over here. What happened to the averages? Weren't the averages falling also? Let me draw it a little bit more. The marginal cost curve. Oh, don't tell me. Oh no. The marginal cost curve over here is falling. What is happening to the average average cost curves? Average total cost is falling. Average variable cost is also falling. Do you see this? This is average variable cost falling. This is average total cost falling, right?
Yes, sir.
So the whole point of this exercise was that when marginal is falling, average is falling. When marginal is rising, average is rising. And the one thing that I don't understand, next semester I'm not going to teach this thing, because I found that this is just wastage of one class. I'll finish it in just 20 minutes next time if your university calls me. Okay. So what we are going to do basically is this one. Next week, we will be revisiting elasticity of demand for assignment number 2. The logic is, in this course, if you understand elasticity of demand, you will be able to solve many practical problems in life, not only professional wise, but also your personal wise. So that's why in your next Tuesday, I will one part of the class will be revisiting elasticity of demand. Then we will look at markets. Now, previously what used to happen is, was that I used to go through a lot of markets. Now, from practical point of view, there are some markets which you will never see in real world. For example, perfect competition. So there's no need to go into its details. The main markets that we see in real world is monopolistic competition and oligopoly. Do we see monopoly in the real world? There are monopolies, but
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, what monopolies do we see?
So like in Dhaka city, you have like water supply.
Okay,
Sir, basically anything provided by the government.
Wait, yeah, but water supply is a state monopoly, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but even without states, sir, you can see, like for example, in US, there's a lot of brands of sunglasses, but it is actually governed by just one company. They just give different sunglass brands so that people have options. So that is why when new sunglass brands comes in, they can't compete with them.
Okay, so which company are you talking about? Ray-Ban?
Sir, I don't know. No, sir. These are all these brands are under an umbrella corporation. I don't remember the name. I saw the documentary long time back, like 2 months back.
Okay, but private monopolies are number one. They are not encouraged. They're not encouraged even in America. The company that you're talking about, they found a loophole in the system.
No, sir, but recently, like in America, this is a big problem with big conglomerates. Like they say they are not monopoly because they have a lot of different competitors, but actually they're all colluding to make it a monopoly.
I know. For example, Facebook, they own Messenger. Facebook owns WhatsApp. For Facebook also owns Instagram, right?
Yes, sir. Exactly. That is just one of them. Like
So
big
basically, Facebook is just throwing different products under different names, like you said, with the sunglass. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But Facebook is doing this because they are exploiting some loopholes in the system. In America, there is a law called the Sherman Act.
Yes, sir. It's the antitrust laws.
Antitrust law. So even in America, they have antitrust laws like any other place in the world. Private monopolies are not encouraged by any company, any country. Okay, and states try their level best. Sometimes they're successful, other times they're not, to ensure that private monopolies don't grow. So that's why we are not looking at monopolies. We will be looking at mainly two markets in detail. And that is monopolistic competition and oligopoly. Then we'll look at two important aspects: asymmetric information in the guise of adverse selection, asymmetric information in the guise of moral hazard. That's it. That's our course. So basically, next week, what we'll do, since because of the Eid, we couldn't do the assignment 2. Assignment 2 will be based will be an example on elasticity of demand, but I'll elaborate it. And then we will look at monopolistic competition, and if possible, we will look at just a very introduction to oligopoly. That's it. So this was today's class, and your marks I will send. Now it's 8:18. I'll send it tonight, by tonight. Okay. And some of you, I did not receive your submissions. I'll tell you who I did not receive. And do you want to see your marks?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll send the your scripts back as well. So wait. Oh yes. Okay. Acha, this person didn't submit. I did not receive. This person also. Okay, so those of you from whom I did not receive any submissions, or you submitted very late, I'll be taking 4 assignments. I'll be counting best 3. This is what I did in the last semester. So what I'm going to do, if somebody failed to submit this time, don't worry, try to submit the remaining ones. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, what will happen? It will be very unfair on the rest of the class. Some people, we don't want the system to be demoralizing. Okay, so now let me show you the marks. You see slowly. Once you have finished the 16, I will go to the next 16. This is the plagiarism percentage. Most of you have done very good in plagiarism test. See, 0%, 4%. Not bad.
Sir,
huh?
can you show the marks of section 2 next?
Section 2. Are you from section 2?
Yeah, yes, sir.
I managed to finish only 50 scripts, young man.
Oh, all right. Thank you, sir.
Your one is on Saturday, right?
Yes, sir.
On Saturday, I'll show you section 2. Okay.
All right, sir. Sir, are you planning on to take any midterm exams?
Acha, midterm. What is your university saying? That depends on what the university says.
Sir, different faculties are doing different things. Some of them are giving assignments, some of them are taking exams. I don't know what the university said. Like, we as students, we have no idea. Like,
no, but
anything.
Some courses are also taking presentations.
Okay. The thing is, it is totally at the discretion of the course teacher then.
We don't know, sir.
So we don't know the exact thing.
Okay. The thing is, I haven't been instructed regarding any midterm. This what happened in the last semester. First of all, they said that they'll be able to take midterm, no problem. Then all of a sudden, the University Grants Commission said you can't, midterm cannot be taken. So they.
Sir, I think it is because of the UGC thing, sir. I work at Breck University, so I have a little bit of information. Because UGC is giving like they change their decision on a whim, and then universities can't keep up. It's not because the administration wants
that's
to.
exactly what happened last semester. আমরা জানতাম যে midterm নিতে হবে, then all of a sudden সত্যজিৎ দা ফোন করে আমাকে বললো কি আপনি নিছেন, আমি তো নিয়ে ফেলছি, বুঝছো? সত্যজিৎ বলে যে হ্যাঁ আপনি কি করছেন, আমি তো জানি না, আমাকে তো কেউ কিছু বলে নাই। পরে I considered that midterm as an assignment.
Yeah.
Okay, I took it in 30 marks, then I converted it back to 20. Okay, so until and unless I formally receive an indication that midterm is happening, I will do exactly what I did in last semester. I'll carry on taking as many assignments as possible.
Yes, sir. We are good with the assignment, sir. Thank you.
And I will take one verbal assessment. Okay.
That's during the finals, right?
Before the finals, I'll take one verbal assessment.
Oh, all right. Sure, sir.
Those will be, suppose after 3 assignments, I can take one verbal assessment based on the first 3 assignments. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So,
Okay, sir.
and if I receive a indication from BRAC University that we have to take midterm formally, then I will take it according to the format of the university, in whatever way the university tells me. Okay.
স্যার ইটস অলমোস্ট অগাস্ট, সো আই থিঙ্ক মনে হয় এটা আপনার উপরে অনেকটা ডিপেন্ড করবে, কারণ আমাদের বাকি দুটো কোর্সে একজন নিচ্ছে, একজন স্যার নিচ্ছেন আমাদের মানে অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট বেসিসে, আর একজন স্যার নিচ্ছেন মিড টার্ম হিসেবে। সো আই থিঙ্ক এটা আপনার উপর অনেকটা ডিপেন্ড করবে যে আপনি আসলে আমাদেরকে কিভাবে ফাইনালটা কমপ্লিট করবেন।
আমি তো কোনো অ্যাসেসমেন্ট না নিতে পারলেই বাঁচি।
স্যার এটাই
টিচার্স হেট চেকিং এক্সাম স্ক্রিপ্টস, আমার জান বের হয়ে যায়, বুঝছো? তোমাদের ক্লাস হচ্ছে 50+, 50টা খাতা পড়া কি এত সোজা? And when I return back the scripts, তখন if you see that I haven't checked your script properly, তখন আবার চিল্লাবা স্যার আপনি তো পড়েন নাই, এটা বলবো না?
Of course, sir, we will do, sir.
You will. It doesn't matter whether you're 10 years old or whether you're 30 years old. This is a universal behavior of students. Okay, so এটা পড়তে গেলেও তো আমাকে টাইম নিয়ে পড়তে হয়। So but anyhow that doesn't matter, we'll address it as a acha এটা দেখা হয়েছে প্রথম 16টা?
Yes sir, first 16টা হয়েছে।
Okay, তাহলে we'll see the next 16. You see, এটা আমি পরে পাঠিয়ে দিব PDF করে। The did not submit means I did not receive.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I made references to the ones I took online, so I don't know why I'm saying 16, sir. I made references. You also stated that we should make references if that needs be. So I don't know, sir. Yes, I did.
I'll return your script back. I remember your comment. That
yes,
is,
sir.
you need to paraphrase better. You made the reference, no problem.
Yes.
But
yes,
once
sir.
you see the plagiarism report, you will automatically understand what to do next time. So even if you did bad this time according to your assessment, if you improve on that one, then remaining ones will be good, and this one will not be calculated in your final assessment.
No, sir. This thing is, you stated if we should copy from online or get any info from online, we should state it as a reference, which I did.
You did.
You know, the first, yes, I
you
so
did.
I don't,
you did.
So why should I? So I want to know why I'm having that mark. So it's very important to me, sir.
No, just a second. You quoted where you went, where you took it from. Yes, but the thing is, once you see your script, you will see that you haven't done paraphrasing properly. You know what paraphrasing means?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir,
so
I can't get you. What did you say?
Paraphrasing. Have you?
But yes, I did it. What did you check my second this thing I sent to you? The second one I sent, not the first one. The second one I included my diagram, and also you know, I highlighted everything and then put in quote very well, sir. Okay, I sent the second one to you, which you know, you gave a new rule concerning before I submitted, so I had to go back to what I did and then redid it. Then I submitted again. I told you I won't be using the first one that I submitted. That is the second one I will be using.
Okay. Then I'll check both of them then. Okay.
Okay, sir.
I check this
Please
one.
do, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. The only problem is
thank God you're taking 3 assignments. So this one I actually
no, I'll be taking 4.
Oh, yes, sir, 4. So this ones are actually like half an hour before submission. Iqbal actually reminded me like there is an assignment. So I had to write everything top of my head. That's why 0% plagiarism.
No, 0% others are also there. No problem.
Yes, sir. But next time, sir, I'll
probably next time, yeah,
write better.
Wait, I'll answer your question later. Okay, so have you guys seen up to number 34?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wait. I'll address the next one later.
Sir, this is Alimujaman, sir. I have been submitted.
Wait. I'll address your question just now. Okay. Okay, now you see it. Alimuzaman, I'll answer your question just after we stop finishing showing. Okay.
Sure, sir. Okay.
Acha, is Faria Zinat in the class today? Maksudara is the last person on this list. Faria Zinat, is she in the class? No, she's not in the class. Okay, no problem. So you guys have seen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Alimuzaman, now I can answer your question. What was your question?
Sir, I have submitted my script through email, sir.
You submitted through email?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so wait. Let me check.
Sir, but I didn't use my G Suite email, sir.
Okay, let's see what you did. Oh, that's why I didn't find it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. Let me see. I mean, apni bole dicchi. We can address your problem. Oh, not this one. Okay. Okay, what's your email address? Tell me.
Sir, that was Niloy Booth, sir.
Niloy.
Yes, sir. Niloy.
Niloy.
Right, sir.
Okay, let's see.
Sir, I had to submit my script from my home, sir. I was at home
that's
during
why I
it,
didn't
sir.
get it. Acha, that's why I didn't get it. Okay, no problem. Yeah, you submitted on time. Okay, you. I'll just a second. Let me get back. I'll answer. I'll check your script and then I'll update this marks. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, no problem. You submitted on time, so
yes,
I didn't find it. That's my problem.
That's why, sir. I just shocked, sir.
Now, so your shock is gone now.
Yes, sir. Now
okay, that's okay. Now that's why I'm showing the marks, because I can make a mistake, you know.
Sir, can you check? Have you received my script or not? Can you check it right now?
What's your name?
Iqbal Hussain from section 2.
No. I haven't checked section 2 yet.
No. I'm not. Have you received my paper or not?
How did you send it? In Google Classroom or email?
I did it Google Classroom.
Oh, then it will be there. I haven't checked section 2 at all.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so once I check it, if there's any problem like Mr. Alimuzaman, we'll sort it out.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So, sir, will you show the best answers or upload the one which is the best ideal answer according to you?
I'll upload all of them and I'll give you the Google Drive.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, আমার কোশ্চেন প্যাটার্নে প্লেগারিজম 52% ছিল স্যার। স্যার আমি এখানে জানতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে আমি আসলে স্যার কয়েকজনের বই পিডিএফ বই নামিয়ে আমি সেই বইগুলো থেকে বিভিন্ন রকমের এক্সাম্পল এবং বিভিন্ন রকমের ডেসক্রিপশন নামিয়ে তারপর এখানে আমি একটা আর্টিকেল এই রিপোর্টটা তৈরি করেছি আর নট লাইক রিপোর্ট। স্যার এই ক্ষেত্রেও কি এটা প্লেগারিজম হয়ে যাচ্ছে?
আচ্ছা, প্লেজারিজমের ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে আচ্ছা সেটা হচ্ছে you have to write in your own words. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What I'm going to do when I return back your script, I'll be returning back your script. তোমার ইয়েটা ওই Turnitin-এর রিপোর্টটা. So what will happen? That report will tell you what you did. Now, for example, Lydia, she said that she quoted everything, which she did, no problem, and she mentioned her sources, etc. What she did was she did the version that I looked at was she did not do proper paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means you take, for example, you take something that I wrote in the Daily Star or whatever, and then you write it in your own words. You didn't write it in your own words. Once you see it in your report, you'll see, and then hopefully for next time this problem won't arise. Okay.
ওকে স্যার স্যার বাট আমার অ্যাসাইনমেন্টে যেটা হয়েছিল সেটা হচ্ছে যে আমার যে ফার্স্ট যে ডেসক্রিপশনটা ছিল কুপনের প্লাস হচ্ছে আমার লটারিজ এই কুপনগুলো মানে প্রত্যেকটা ডেসক্রিপশন আমি 2-3টা আর্টিকেল এবং 2-3টা পিডিএফ বই থেকে নিয়ে নিয়ে তারপর আমি সেখানে লিখেছি এবং পরবর্তী যে মানে সেকেন্ড যে কোশ্চেনটা ছিল পুরো ডেসক্রিপশনটা আমি আমার নিজের মতো করে লিখেছি।
হ্যাঁ, এবং
সেই
তোমার
ক্ষেত্রে
তোমার তাই হয়েছে কিন্তু the last 2 paragraphs were perfect, or the last 3 paragraphs were perfect, remaining wasn't. Once you see the report, you'll see and
দ্যাট মিন্স স্যার আমি যে মানে সংজ্ঞাগুলো যেরকম করে আমি একটা বোর্ড থেকে নিয়েছি সেগুলো কালেক্ট করেছি মানে এই জিনিসটা আমাকে নেক্সট অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট গুলোতে করা যাবে না, মানে ওই সংজ্ঞাটাও আমাকে নিজের ভাষাতে আমাকে নিজের মতো করে এক্সপ্লেন করতে হবে। ইজ ইট?
you have to write it in your own words, that's it.
আই থিংক স্যার এখানে আমার মিস্টেকটা হয়েছে, মানে আমার সংজ্ঞাটা আমি টোটালি ওখান থেকে নিয়েছি কিন্তু আমি পুরো পরের যে জিনিসটা ছিল তিনটা মেইন ডেসক্রিপশন যেটা ছিল ওটা আমি আমার নিজের মতো করে আমি এক্সপ্লেন করে লিখেছি। আচ্ছা, সো আমার এই সংজ্ঞাটাতে যে আমি আসলে কনফিউজ হয়ে গেছি যে এটাও কি আমি নিজের মতো করে লিখবো নাকি আমি ওখান থেকে যে কোনো একজন রাইটারের সংজ্ঞাটাকে আমি আসলে তুলে ধরবো, ডেসক্রিপশনটাকে তুলে ধরবো?
Okay, the greatest lesson from this is in life we all make mistakes. Making a mistake is human. Not learning from a mistake is not human. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
hello, sir.
So you look at your script. Just a second. Look at your script. Once you see the script that I returned back to you. Okay. If there's another person who's done that, don't worry. Just look at your I'll send it back, and then you just make sure you don't repeat the same problem again. Lydia,
Hello,
yes?
sir. Yes, please, sir, kindly recheck the last assignment I sent to you.
I will
It's very
do it.
important. Yes.
I will. Don't worry.
স্যার তাহলে কি স্যার আমরা নেক্সট টাইম নেক্সট অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট গুলাতে আমরা যে রেফার গুলা ইউজ করব সেই রেফারেন্স গুলা কি আমরা সেখানে তুলে দিব, মানে প্রত্যেকটা জিনিস রিকমেন্ড করে দিব? তাহলে
না
কি
না, তুলে দেওয়া মানে কি? আসলে let me give you an example. আচ্ছা, can I close the class now?
Sir.
We don't need I'll close the class here, okay?
Yes,
and then
sir.
we talk. Okay, recording বন্ধ করি।